You've reached the voicemail of Dr. Claire Chauffin of the surgical department at Hôpital Georges Pompidou. Please leave a message. She had forwarded her phone's voicemail to her clinic, as she nearly always did. Dupin hesitated. I'll call again. He hung up abruptly. He was well aware that this was not the ideal message. Dupin hoped she would at least recognize his voice. The connection, he realized, had not been the best. She would recognize it, without doubt. And he had called. While enjoying the legendary lobster, a question constantly bothered the commissaire in spite of himself. It had been going round and round in his head since Nolwen's last call, and he'd been trying to push it aside more and more forcefully since then. In vain. He would have to redirect his thoughts somewhere else more forcefully. He fixed his gaze on a boat that had just approached the quay, which didn't look like the others. It was larger, longer, perhaps 15 meters, he estimated. It had superstructures that looked industrial. The sun beat down. He could have done with a cap. Oh, crap. It was no use. Distracting himself wasn't working. He had spoken in a low voice, but a few people turned around to look at him. He reached for the phone, his mood almost as bad as it had been that morning. Dupin knew that people said he was a little surly and bad-tempered from time to time. He'd heard contrary once on his last case, and he'd liked this expression best. Depending on his mood, he reacted to these kinds of comments in a conciliatory, self-deprecating, or even a somewhat gruff way. But in general, he considered this claim completely unreasonable. Nolwenn, Monsieur le Commissaire? The ship belonging to that mattress entrepreneur, which was found in Bénodet. Has he been heard from by now? I mean, has he got in touch? I don't know. The prefect was reassured when he heard that Conan's boat was safe in the harbor. I'll ask whether there's been any word from him in the meantime. And Conan's acquaintance? Has anyone heard from him? And does anyone know why the ship is in Bénodet and not in Sainte-Marine? And who actually saw this boat in the harbor, and why did they report it? I don't have the faintest idea. Do we know the name of this friend? No. Does he have a boat, too? As far as I know, they always went out in Yannick Conan's boat. Do you want me to clarify all of these points? Dupin didn't even know. Everything was so mysterious anyway. He was worrying about a friend of the prefect's, whom Nolwenn considered a criminal, and this despite the fact that, as yet, no conclusive evidence of any kind existed that there was any reason to worry. Conan was probably just with a woman, some sleazy affair. I'm going to finish my lobster now. Your lobster? Lobster. You're in the 80? Correct. Lobster from the Glénan is the best in the world. Good thing you're there. If you need anything, ask Solène Nous. She's the owner of the 80. She knows everything, knows everyone. The Glénan are her kingdom. Her kingdom. Oh, yes. What's that meant to mean? You'll see. Solène Nous bought the 80 from the council 10 years ago with her husband, Jacques, a passionate diver. The diving school already belonged to him, but they still lived on the mainland at that time. Nobody wanted to have the old boathouse. That was empty for almost 7 years. Everyone thought it would be too tough to open a restaurant out there. Have you met Solène Nous yet? No. Then I'm sure you'll have met one of her 2 daughters. Louane and Armelle. They work in the bar, too. You can barely tell the 3 of them apart. They look so similar, it's amazing. One lives with her mother on the archipelago, the other with her boyfriend on the mainland, but she's often there. They have a cottage on the island, diagonally behind the sailing school. Dupin imagined it was not an easy life out here. And the husband, the diver. Oh, it's a sad story. Drowned, just after they'd bought the 80 and were about to move to the Glénan. It was their great shared dream. Solène went to the islands anyway. She rented out the club to a girlfriend of hers. During his years of close cooperation with Nolwenn, Dupin had become used to her knowing a huge amount about a huge number of people from Cornouailles, the coast between the most western point in France. The point